welcome back to day 2. I'm happy to see you live if you're watching live. And if you are watching the replay, I'm also happy to creepily lock eyes with you in this video. So yesterday you had a test run with the 5 Ps. And remember, the 5 Ps are plants, protein, a little bit of processed fun food, plenty of water, and plate it. This is what I'm working on, is definitely drinking more water throughout my day. So it's not 8 p.m. when I'm like, oh shoot, I think I should drink water. Oh shoot, now I am up every hour going to the bathroom. Not fun. So you had a test run yesterday, and if you're like any other human in the world, you probably had an imperfect Monday and things didn't go exactly how you had planned, and that's okay. That's life. So we have to remember that there's never going to be this perfect Monday. There's never going to be this perfect schedule. Like, that's life. If you're an adult, you have kids, you have a job, you have traffic, life is going to be imperfect. So just remember that. So we can get rid of that whole like, I'm going to start over perfect on, next Monday. No, you're not. You're going to live this life, and you're going to want to not feel gross this week, because you're going to do the best with that. So you might have had a busy Monday where a bunch of things were happening, or maybe you had a busy weekend and you didn't have time to go grocery shopping. And you might have found that you were super snacky at some point in your day. Maybe it was after lunch, or maybe it was the end of the night, and you wandered over to the kitchen and you're like in the pantry and you're like, I can have some of these crackers. And then you see the cookies and you see the wine and you're like, oh, I don't even know what happened. We've all done something similar to this, whether it was that or something at work, or we're going to the break room, or constantly getting some cookies, getting some donuts, whatever else people brought in. Oh my gosh, why is this happening? Why do I keep overeating? Why I can't trust myself? And we start to put a lot of blame on ourselves. So we think that there's something wrong with us. We're fundamentally flawed. We're like, cool, Jacqueline, that's nice that you can do that whole single serving thing, but that's not for me. So we ask ourselves these questions, why am I overeating all of the time? And I have an interesting question to ask, and that is your overeating problem actually an undereating problem? So this is a paradigm shift. A paradigm is a widely accepted belief, and a lot of us have this belief that in order to lose weight, or even in order to lose weight, that we should be undereating. We should be cutting calories. We should be starving ourselves. We should be at 1,200 calories. We should undereat in order to lose weight. Or we unintentionally do that throughout our day. But we have this paradigm, that's this widely accepted belief that we have to undereat severely in order to lose weight. And so many of us go through life where we're trying to cut calories, whether we're tracking on an app or we're just purposely undereating. And then we find ourselves in this situation where we've overeaten. We are in the kitchen, we're in the break room, right? And it doesn't feel good. Now we feel gross, we feel guilty, we feel physically gross, and we feel emotionally guilty and just oh my gosh, I did it again. What's wrong with me? But ultimately, not eating enough food for your body will cause you to eventually overeat, whether that is at the end of the night, at the end of 30 days. The restriction will cause you to swing to the other side and overdo it, binge, and it just doesn't feel good. So when I say eating enough, I am coming back to the basics: plants and protein. Many people will try to go through their day just eating bread and crackers, and maybe we're drinking diet soda and tons of coffee and energy drinks. And there's nothing wrong with those fun foods. I'm not saying completely cut them out, more of that restriction, what will happen. I'm not saying that, but what I'm saying is, when your body, if you don't have enough of what your body actually needs, you will seek out these higher calorie foods later on in your day, or later on in the week or the month or whatever. And for a lot of people, it's at the end of the night. So we think, okay, I'm going to start this restrictive diet because obviously I don't have any self-control. We start to try to apply more rules when really it was a lack of self-care in the first place. So I like to compare things to situations that are not food related so that we can kind of see it in a different light. And it's when a child misbehaves. So I was a teacher in Chicago public schools. I taught on the south side and I taught on the west side. And in situations where kids were not given what they actually needed. And so a ton of kids seeking out attention, not getting what they want, what they actually need. So they're acting out. So it's this thing of if a kid doesn't get what he needs, he will get your attention in a way you don't like, right? So they're acting out, they're misbehaving, they're really seeking basic things like food, love, sleep, structure. But then what do? I'm like, oh my gosh, you're misbehaving. You don't get recess. You don't get to do anything fun. I'm coming in and I'm like being super mean, trying to apply more rules, apply more discipline, yelling and screaming. This is seriously things that I would do as a teacher, dealing with kids that were misbehaving because I didn't know any better. And that's a lot of like what we'll do with food. We're like overeating later in the day, and then we try to apply more restriction, more rules, more discipline, just be mean to ourselves. But really what it comes down to, if your body is not getting what it needs, it will get your attention in another way and in a way that you don't like. So if you are under eating during your day, you are probably overeating later on at some point. So what you want to do is think like, what are you missing, right? Do you have enough food? That kid that's misbehaving, does he have enough food? You, if you're misbehaving at the end of the night, do you have enough food? And when I say enough food, I'm coming back to plants and protein. So a couple of examples, and right, like these are like so simple. If you've seen any of my plates, I'm not cutting vegetables for like 8 hours on Sunday. I don't even shop at Whole Foods. I just shop at our local grocery store. Really simple things. And so when I'm talking about, oh, let's get this open, like plants, like carrots, celery, I have some edamame here, plants, fruit. There's nothing wrong with fruit. It's not the sugar in fruit that's ruining our health. Like, let's really think about that. So really basic things. A serving of vegetables is a cup, a whole cup. So the sprinkle of spinach that I used to put on my pizza, that doesn't really count as a serving. It might make the pizza taste great. That's nice. But like a full cup, and especially when you're doing leafy greens, like pack that stuff in there. Give yourself more to eat. It's basically just water. Get as many vegetables in your day as you can. We don't discriminate. Fruit is great too. Get fruit in as well. And then when we're talking about protein, a serving of protein, you could estimate the palm of your hand or a deck of cards. That's about a serving of protein. So when we think about that, if we have a serving of vegetables and a serving of protein at all of our meals, we're giving our body what our body actually needs. Oh, and water, plenty of water. We're giving our body what we actually need. Plants, protein, plenty of water. If we're giving ourselves that, we will find that the issues that we have with food and feeling super hungry throughout the day and then snacking later on, a lot of those issues will go away without tying our hands, without restriction, without discipline, without yelling at ourselves, without weighing food, without tracking calories, without tracking macros. If you give your body enough love, now you don't have to do all of those crazy things. If a child gets what he needs, he gets the love and attention that he actually needs, you don't have to deal with all of the mean teacher behaviors that I used to do. I wouldn't have had to do that had I known I just needed to love and provide more loving structure and do the best that I could with those things. If I had known that, that's what I could have done differently, and actually enjoy life, actually enjoy the food you're eating, not have to track macros. So great. So if we think about that, if you are overeating at night, I want you to think about, what am I missing in my day? Am I getting enough plants? Am I getting enough protein? Am I getting plenty of water? Basic things that like the planet provides us with those things. That's the crazy thing too, right? Like the planet provides us water. The planet provides us plants. The planet provides us vegetables. It provides us fruits. It provides us animal products. And yes, you can have the processed versions. You can have some protein powder, or you can have a protein bar or whatever else. But kind of sticking to those basics, give yourself those basic things, and then you won't need to get like the special diet food versions of things. So that is your homework today. When it's the end of the night and you find yourself super snacky, or any point in your day you find yourself super snacky, I want you to try this paradigm shift. Am I over snacking now? Am I overeating now because I underate at some point? I underprovided to my body at some point. And then where can I add in more plants, more protein, and plenty of water? And I want you to take a look at your meals from yesterday or from today, depending on when you're watching this, and just look and see, like just take a tally, like how many servings of vegetables are you eating in your day? If a serving isn't a sprinkle of spinach, but a serving is an actual cup, like get a measuring cup and look at what is a measuring cup. 1 cup of carrots look like? What does a cup of broccoli look like? And yes, you'll look at the back of a container, and it might be a little bit different. Broccoli might say 2/3 of a cup. You won't die from eating a cup of broccoli. Most of us are not getting enough, and we're not adding extra calories and gaining weight because of broccoli. It's the snacking on the crackers and the wine and the cookies later on in the day, the raw cookie dough that I was eating. So look at how many veggies, how many servings of veggies and protein you're eating, and then just increase by 1. You don't have to eat 8 servings. That'll feel really undoable. That's more of that like jumping, that giant overhaul that you're not going to be able to sustain. So just start with like, cool, you know, I'm only getting in 1 serving of vegetables. I think I'm going to start adding vegetables to my lunch. I think I'm going to start adding vegetables to my dinner. Or, you know, my thing, like I'm not really good about eating protein. I have to force myself to eat protein. I don't really enjoy animal products. So I have to force myself to make sure that I eat meat with my dinner. Or I make sure that I have a protein shake. I have to. That's like, that structure is set up for me as well to make sure that I do those things. So cool, just look at how many servings of veggies and how many servings of protein you're eating, and then just add 1 if you find yourself super snacky later in the day. And remember, this is a workshop model. In order to get the most value from these lessons, you actually have to engage. So it's like, do the thing and then report back. Like, take some time to think about what's happening in your day and comment below on what you thought about today's lesson, and I will be sure to comment back. All right, guys, have a good rest of your week. Take care.